My name is Sharon Whiteman, and I know many of you know me. I was able to see all our guests arriving this morning, and Dana, Hunter, Garry, Gnapp, and myself has been bringing this weekly training together to make sure we all have the opportunity to connect as a community. We've got an awesome community in Manotick. We also empower ourselves and lift ourselves with our knowledge base and our mindset. So today is all about the importance of leveraged income. So if you're new to this information, a big warm welcome. All of us that will be speaking today, and many of us that partner with us around Australasia and the globe, this is a really, really important topic that sometimes isn't fully understood by the people that we meet every day. So basically, as you're listening to this information, connect with yourself. Really view this from the perspective of your own heart's desires. What passions drive you? How are you living your life on your terms? And also, what I suspect will happen, is this is what happens to me, people come to mind that might need this information. And the good news is this will be recorded. So really, as you're sitting here, this is like a homework assignment for you. You sit here and just think about these questions. What really drives you in your life to make you happy? I know when I was looking at this, my highest values are integrity, but also contribution. And when this company came to me, I was not open. I wasn't open to the technology. I wasn't open to someone talking to me in that way, just randomly at a dinner party. I was, for those of you that don't know, I'm a retired clinical nurse specialist in critical and health departments in Australia. They paid me for 3 specialties in critical care, open heart, cardiothoracic, ICU, and emergency. And so when someone was telling me about wellness at a dinner party, it just did not compute, let me tell you. I was like, oh my goodness, this is strange. But luckily for me, they have the kindness and the graciousness to just say, listen, this may or may not be right for you, but the information can't hurt you. And, I really thought, I thought to myself at that time, I can't possibly reject something without taking a look at it. That was my value. So I thought, fair enough, I'll listen to it. So at that time, I didn't have any why, but I was unable to work due to a chronic health condition. So, the thought of there might be some technology, some wellness technology that I didn't understand, I got enough courage to at least look at something that was unknown to them. Now, those of you listening today, you might be fine health-wise and not really looking at that, but maybe you're not able to meet that mortgage payment is a struggle, or you may have kids that you'd prefer to send to tutoring or sport, or it's costs massive. When every term when I'm coming up to getting my kids into swimming, tennis, and next term we're going into some tutoring as well, like that's $1,500 to $2,000 a term for 3 kids. So, just think of where are those gaps in your life? And some people have enough money and enough wellness, but they don't have any time to do the things that are really of high value to them. That they maybe have a very successful job and they can't spend time with their children or their family or with their hobbies or their mission, their charitable desires. And also, I think another place where we have a huge solution for people is for people that aren't connected with the mission of where they're working. So maybe the core values aren't a match. I know for me as a nurse, I started to feel more attracted to natural medicine or integrative approach just naturally in my early 30s. So I started to feel less and less, even though in critical care, obviously that's one of the areas of modern medicine that we do a pretty good job. You don't want to run to a critical situation with some herbs or potions. Having said that, I started to not feel really completely aligned with Western medicine, and I knew there was something more. I knew there was more to the picture, and I'm so grateful I had the courage to keep looking, because I've really discovered integrative medicine, and that is the way of the future, no matter what kind of ridiculous things are happening in Australia right now. So this story is all about you. I've told you a bit about my story. At that time when I heard about it, I can remember listening to a cassette tape. This was over 20 years ago now, in my car. And I thought, was all about the terrain of the planet, about the soil that is necessary to be replenished fully, and farming practices, how they've changed, and how our food, it wasn't what it used to be, and how there's more than a pharmaceutical approach to recovering from a health challenge. That all made sense to me. I was thinking like this light bulb moment. I just thought, wow, why was I concerned about this? This makes total sense. So be thinking, I didn't really think about it in this terms, shrink your dreams or expand your income. But I got the vision, and I had a dream, and I had some hope for my health. I thought, well, this makes sense for me. If this isn't the whole solution to my current health challenge, it had to be the foundation. I got that this improving our foundational nutrition really made sense. And then I went on to, over the coming months, I was a mad, passionate, stubborn Taurian, and I still am. And I researched everything I could get my hands. I read and read and read, and it was just so illuminating for me. And I went on to start sharing it with people I cared about. I thought, listen, I don't even know if this is going to work for me for XYZ situation that I was in, but I can't make you wait for me, because it might be, you need to review this for yourself and take a look. Don't wait for me. And that's how it started some 19 and a half years ago. So as in my journey, I realized, and especially on looking back at that decision for me, I realized it was all about my education. I had to learn more about money and how income flows, because as a nurse, I really only ever had, and in my family growing up, I was, raised in the 50s and 60s. And I was told that you can be a nurse or a teacher. And that's what I was told. And that was my family mindset. And also was pretty common back there. It wasn't unusual to have thoughts like that for women, and looking forward, be a nurse because you can travel everywhere with your husband, and you can pick up a job anywhere, or a teacher, right? And I never got married, so that wasn't really good advice for me, was it? So, and also fortuitously, in my, again, early 30s, I had the pleasure and the blessing, and it was like synchronicity for me to meet a personal development company called Powwow Events. It was a long time ago, and they, at the time, were promoting the Australasian promoters of Robert and Kim Kiyosaki. If you're not familiar with him, he wrote lots of books, and he's a financial literacy educator. And most importantly for this topic right now is he wrote a book called Cash Flow Quadrant. And in that, he's educating everyday people like myself, and possibly some of you that are watching this live or later. He educated people about cash flow. He educated about mindsets of people who have more money, even the wealthy, but people who are financially secure. And he outlined this cash flow quadrant, which you're seeing on your screen right now. So ultimately, and simplified, because you don't need to understand the complexity of this, on the left-hand side of the quadrant, there's employees and self-employed people. So employees is obvious, like myself, and self-employed was people like lawyers, doctors, they have a small business and probably a few staff, but they're ultimately self-employed. And if they don't work, they don't get paid. So in other words, in order for them to have holidays or sick pay, they have to make lots of extra money, don't they? And then on the right side of the quadrant, Robert Kiyosaki said there's business owners and investors. So for the definition in this perspective, a business owner is someone like with 500 or more employees, and that they could walk away from this business for a year and it would still thrive without them. So that's at the big business end of things. And investors often they come from business owners, but we're big business owners, but they can come from anywhere. I know that with next to no money, very modest income as a nurse, we started investing in real estate property through the education of Robert Kiyosaki all those years ago. And we've invested very conservatively, so it wasn't flash. We bought things that were positively geared, or almost, except for repairs, and just gradually started building our asset base through this education. So the most important thing to take away from this is that 90% of people are on the employment side, and they're only controlling about 10% of global wealth. Whereas on the right-hand side of the quadrant, business owners and investors, there's only 10% of global population enjoying that side of the quadrant, and they're controlling 90% of the wealth. Now, I don't believe this is just, and I think there needs to be a big shift in wealth inequality. But what you're about to witness is a way that we, the people, can do this. This is a method. This is a partnership with a company that's solid, that you can take this education away, continue to work on your education, and be successful in controlling your cash flow into your house. So we all know people who are doing Uber or Airbnb or Amazon, or there's lots of options out there, right? They bring extra income into the house. But the distinction that we're going to cover today is it's not leveraged income. Leveraged income, which, as you can see Warren Buffett's quote there, it's if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work for the rest of your life. So leveraged income, as you build it to be stable, will start to bring income into your household, whether you're working or not. And that's what we're talking about today. So the other thing when you're understanding leveraged income, it's really important to understand compounding. So you can choose, we all know about negative, I'd say, I don't want to generalize, but I'm sure most of us that's witnessing this now or into the future will have had the experience of having credit card debt. And that's also a compounding effect. So if you ever watched and you're not paying the total amount, or you're only paying the minimum amount, that debt still grows, doesn't it? So that's negative compounding. And it is a weight on your back if it gets out of control, which for all kinds of very innocent reasons that happen in life, that can happen to anyone, can't it? Whereas what we're talking about is the positive compounding, where your assets pay you money. So the take-home message from today is choose something to put your extra effort into that's going to build you an asset. So if just an example here, a residual income, say you start a small business, whether it's the ones we heard before, you can bring in an extra $500 to $700 a month. The equivalence of that in savings, you would need to have $100,000 at 5% return, which you can't really even get 5% return now. $100,000 in the bank in order to get that $500 to $700 a month interest off that. So that could be, a car payment, school fees, family holiday, whatever that extra 500 to 7 you could accrue towards that goal that you're not making right now, you're not achieving. Right. Another example, $1,000 a month, obviously you'd need $200,000 in the bank or more. And that's a mortgage payment or something more substantial, a luxury car. But the bottom line for that is who do you know? Who do we all know? How many people do we know that can save to create $100,000 to $200,000 in the bank? Most people that we know are living month to month, and that's not meaning to be diminishing to anyone. That is the human condition for the majority of people. Now, as I talk today, you'll notice I'm focusing on making small amounts of extra income. This company and this system, this type of choice of leveraged income model can make you millions and millions of dollars. So one of our top income earner in our company is in the top 10 income earners of all home business, direct selling, network marketing businesses globally. So this can make you the big bucks if that's your goal. So when we're looking at small amounts here, so don't say, well, I want full-time income, because that's definitely possible, but it all starts here, doesn't it? So the best leveraged income system to achieve these kind of things is something called a home business, and it through network. You can see there on the bottom of your screen, there's 3 circles. You may or may not be able to read it, but the company covers 58% of the gross costs. So you don't have to do any of the distribution, the manufacturing, the quality assurance, the research and development. That's all done for you. All we do for the 42% that is paid to us in the field is we share this message. We help others make fully informed choices to achieve their goals, whether that be a wellness goal, an income goal, or a mission goal. We've got it covered, and I'll explain more about that. So in making a decision to change your household financial situation, think of these concepts, think of this education, go further if you want to. You're not going to find any surprises. This is just the best kept secret, basically. And make your choice on what you're going to do based on the earning capacity of that opportunity. So a home business, it's powerful and affordable, and you'll see those stats at the top of your screen. So it's not just us talking about, this is a global mission. It's a global drive. You can see the global stats there, 100 million people involved in direct selling. That's a few years ago. In Australia, 20% of the natural healthcare market, 10% of all cosmetics, 40% of all global sales are represented here in the Asia Pacific region. So this is solid. It's not, you know, we get a bad rap, and I think that's possibly because the training is only getting better in the last probably 5 to 10 years, so that we have more professionally trained partners in the field. But this is just the best choice. So, matter of fact, it's the smartest choice. Even for the wealthy, this has the lowest risk, the lowest overheads, and the highest possible return. So then, if this is making sense to you in regards to, wow, that's interesting, I never thought of this before, then you need to look for a business in a market that is what people are currently looking for. So people are driving for wellness. I mean, obviously, this is a bit political, but we have a pushback from the powers that be in Australasia, mostly the Medical Board Pharmacy Partnership. They're trying to shut down complementary medicine in Australia, but you watch. This is also a we the people movement. We want our natural medicines, our vitamins, our herbs, our minerals, our homeopathics, you know, our complementary and allied health, chiropractor, osteo. As Australians, we're wellness driven. You know, that movement is growing and it won't stop. And there'll be a very loud voice against that Medical Board of Australia public consultation. So people are looking for wellness, aren't there? There, you know, hardly anyone we know wouldn't appreciate extra income into the house. And then, as I've mentioned before, that purpose. I mean, I know that was a major factor for me as I continued to look at my partnership with Manatech as more than just a wellness solution for me. I started to realize how ethical this is. I started to realize that, and on reflection, I've never harmed a soul by having the courage to introduce them to this education. Never harmed a single soul. Do you think I harmed one or two being part of the healthcare system for 25 years? We do in healthcare. The stats are out there. So introducing Manatech, we're an integrative and targeted wellness company. We bring, where possible, food-based solutions to our supplements. And this is just a wide range. There's more than that, actually, a snapshot. But whatever your wellness goals, we can find something targeted to help you. And it's safe, it's efficacious, and it's science-based. And something that is part of our name to fame is that we hold the best aloe vera and nutritional glycan technology on the planet. There's nobody that can match us. We can scientifically prove it. And even more exciting about this is it works. This stuff really works to bring your wellness to the highest level possible, no matter what your starting point is. So we're a company that's solid. We were founded in 1994. I think we're in 27 markets now. We've got over, you'll see there, 100 patents at the bottom. We've got, I think, over 130 patents now. And that's, you know, obviously to protect our business interests because we've got exclusive technology, but it also demonstrates the quality that we are committed to, that this technology, do you know that nutritional companies don't have to demonstrate science? They can just use generic vitamin C science and make a generic vitamin C product, and they don't have to put their money where their mouth is. Where we're different. We're at the leading edge of nutritional science, and these products, they work in a way that turns your head, let me tell you. So the pathway to income is simple. I'm not going to go in depth into this because these are all hypothetical, but they're possible. And you'll see on here, step one is get started yourself, register as an associate, and start where you can afford. You know, yes, you can. You know, I started with a lot of product because I had high need, but if that's not your financial possibility, you can start with, you know, $50 or less and get started in this business. And I've known people who've sold product and who've got started without any money to get started because they saw the vision, they had a high need, and they knew, listen, this is the way for me and my family, and they just took action. So the first step, you know, you can do. And the reason why there's such a variation here is because this is a volume business, isn't it? So some of the customers that you attract and that you're helping, they'll order a big order, and some will be just a small order. So it does quite vary, but just in 1 to 5 people, you can start earning $95 Australian a month. I'm sorry for the other regions here. I didn't put multiple currency. Then the next step is to help continue to talk people about our wellness technology, but also build the skills. And you can use this presentation to help people. Gee, yeah, my biggest need right now is to help pay my XYZ bill or my whatever my commitments are financially into my household. I need a stress break. I'd love to let go of that extra job. So as you can see, gradually, and as these numbers, you see the numbers on the right, these are sort of start at the lowest possible. And it could be 50 people that get you to 1724, depending on how much they're ordering. But as you see, you step by, and all you do is help others see this information, answer their questions, help them determine where they see themselves fitting and starting and what their goals are. I would, if you're brand new to this, I would recommend that you do this in partnership with your coaching team. But, when I started, I didn't have a coaching team. So I just started and learned it all myself. And, you don't do it. Even this now, after 20 years, isn't going to be perfect. But am I clear that this works? Am I clear that I'm passionate about it? Am I clear that everybody needs to know about this? Absolutely. So now, as you can see, each of these steps here, ultimately what you're doing is helping others achieve your goals. So you're not looking like, gee, I have to find 20 people, or I have to find 85 people, or I have to find 2,000 people. You just start with your goals. You start helping the people in front of you. You help them with their goals, and then you help them repeat that. And this is how leveraged income works. So it's not the people at the top that make money. You could come into my team tomorrow. That's a big fallacy about this business. You could come in my team tomorrow, have more time, more skills, more contacts, more passion, have a lucky break, and surpass my income. It still is a part of my foundational leveraged income, but you can make more than me. There's nothing more pure and ethical than this business model. And as I said at the beginning, for those of you wanting full-time income, this is step 5, but there's multi-million-dollar earners in Manatech if that's what you want. Actually, the steps are exactly the same. You just keep doing this, you do more of it and get more people to partner with you for their goals as well. So this is where we talked about that negative compounding a few slides ago. This is the power of positive compounding. You have this every day. Ordinary people have this at their fingertips, and it's just a learning curve. If you're going to start a new job tomorrow, you wouldn't expect yourself to know everything about that new job in one day. I recommend giving yourself 1 year to 2 years to continue fine-tuning your skills. And me, 20 years on, I'm still learning new things. It's like, a perpetual, never-ending learner, and the world needs more of that. So the other thing I'd like to let you know is that you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. Even for people that don't have a local team, this call happens every week. So that you can always lift yourself up. You can always inspire yourself. If you're feeling a bit discouraged, you can always learn new skills, and this is available to you. And we've got incredible teams in Australasia that have, broad systems rather. But if you don't have that, don't despair, because we have brought this for everybody. Also, I haven't mentioned this, but it's also the foundation of who we are ethically, is that the mission is clear. Every step we take in our home business, our company feeds a malnourished child somewhere else. So you help somebody order some technology, a malnourished child on the planet benefits. Currently, we're serving 100,000 servings a day. That was last year. Our goal is to get 5 million children. So, the benefits that these malnourished kids get when they start thriving and can pay attention in school, and they're not sick and in the infirmary all the time, and how grateful they are. There's nothing I thought you can tell I'm passionate, right? Because I think all the news I've shared so far is amazing. And then while you're doing this, at no extra cost to you, you're helping a malnourished child. That's the very core foundation of social entrepreneurship. So does this work? The most important thing is to hear from people. You've heard my story. And, even I've had the terrible misfortune to get bit by a tick in Australia and contract Lyme disease. And that snowballed my health in a way that's indescribable. But even at times, and I wouldn't be here alive at all, I can tell you, without this foundation of nutrition. I'm so completely dedicated to that. Having said that, even at my sickest, as I was trying to work out what was wrong, because it's not recognized here in Australia, my income kept coming in, and it always has. It went down a little bit when I couldn't focus on it, but it's always been way more than disability. So if you know someone who's disabled and can't get back to work, but they can still function at some level, this is a fabulous addition to a disability support pension. So I'd like to call on my colleagues now. Diana, Garry, and Rhonda, if you could turn your cameras on. Fantastic. Diana, you're here first, lucky first. So tell us about your story in partnering with Manatech.
Thank you, Sharon. So I was first introduced, luckily, when the company originally opened in Australia, and Sharon, as you heard there briefly, who's a good friend of mine, heard about the products at a dinner party. And I'd had a 15-year health challenge with a chronic fatigue type illness. And I had tried many things, both Western medicine and complementary health care over that 15-year period. And I still had not recovered. And I was broke as a result of that. Anyone with a chronic illness would know the impact on your financial situation, and desperate. And I'd also moved as part of a lifestyle choice to regional Queensland. Anyway, I had a look at the science. You just saw a little bit about the science there in Sharon's presentation, and it made sense to me. I have a science background. I've always worked, most of my adult career, I've worked part-time in administration and part-time as a natural healer. And I'm highly skilled at both of those things. But I had been undermined by a chronic health situation. So I got started on the products. I had a look at them. The science was obvious. I researched the company. I saw the integrity of the company and of the science. So I jumped in there, and I actually used all the money I had in the bank to purchase a bulk set of products. I was that impressed with what I saw and that hopeful about what I saw. And long story short, after about 3 months, I had signs of recovery I hadn't had in 15 years. And over about an 18-month period, I made a full recovery. Now, I'd moved to regional Queensland. This was sort of in tandem. And I became aware very quickly that I wasn't going to be able to rely on the local area for the income that I desired. There's a lot of healers in the area. And there was a lot of underemployment in the area. I had managed to secure a part-time role, a 4-day-a-week role. And in that area of my work, I'd always put 100% of who I am into what I do. And I'd done that for this company. And then the rug got pulled on my job in a very unethical way. And it was a defining moment for me. I thought, that's the last time I'm putting all of who I am, my skills and talents into someone else's business. I'm going to reserve some of that for me and my future. And Manatech became the obvious choice. I'd seen the results and the science of the products. So I jumped in there. It was at that time I really committed to the business and the income opportunity, the lifestyle of Manatech. And so I jumped in, I learned the necessary skills, committed to the training programs, and really got involved. The other thing that's important to me is that I'm able to make a contribution in what I do. And obviously, not only are you contributing to people's health and well-being with a Manatech business, but you can contribute to the financial well-being of others. And so, it's a business that's aligned with my values and my ethics. And I was able to build this business to a full-time income working part-time. And that's where the leveraged benefits really became into play for me. Really early, very early in my involvement, I was able to cover the cost of my products. I started sharing with my friends. They got on board. And, for probably 19 and a half years now, my products have been covered. But also, as I built my business to full-time income, I was able to reduce my part-time working hours, and that gave me more freedom, more time freedom, and more time to dedicate to my business. And the other thing that's leveraged for me is the travel. I love just going down my hallway. I'm in my office right now, going down the hallway of my home to my business. It just, adds so much lifestyle freedom for me. Also, I was able to buy myself a new car. I was really struggling when I first started with Manatech, just bobbing along with a car that was about 15 years old. And having built my income, I was able to, buy myself a new car, again, improve my lifestyle. And, now 20 years down the track, I'm proud to have been associated with this company for all that time. The company has paid me every single month for about 19 and a half years now. I've traveled extensively with the company. We have incentives, both travel incentives and business incentives. I've been to Alaska, I've been to Malaysia. I've been to all the national conventions through their business incentives. The community of like-minded people that I get to work with who, are supporting me in being more of fulfilling more of my capacity to serve others, to, develop my financial well-being. That's priceless. You don't get that in the business world, but you do get it with this company. The other thing is that, as a healer, when I see clients, I have to see clients to receive income. There's no leverage in that. It's my soul work, but there's no leverage there. With this business, I've had income coming in whether I'm working or not, when I'm away on holidays, when I'm moving house. If you ever moved house, you know what an interruption in life that is. The income still comes in. If you're not able to work because you're not well, the income still comes in. That's incredible value to have that leveraged income. And then I just, as a final note, as someone who likes to make a contribution, I love our program that we, nourish ourselves, nourish a child. I can put my head on the pillow at night and know that I'm not only, taking care of myself and others, I'm also, just by way of our business program, taking care of children around the world through our, worldwide nourishment program, the N5M program. So I think that's probably the main points that I wanted to share today, Sharon.
Thank you, Dinah. I'm sure people are relating to that and can find that very helpful. And what we need to know is that we're all different and there is something for all of us in the partnership with Manatech. So, Garry? Come back, Garry.
Good morning, everyone.
I know your story is a little bit different, Garry. Tell us about how you came to partner with Manatech.
Well, yes, I had my own business. I worked out very early on that I was unemployable. So I started my first business when I was 24, which was a skydiving centre. I actually ended up owning the Australian National Skydiving Centre. And it was pretty full on. I mean, it was 7 days a week. Even though we'd close on a Tuesday, all the staff had the day off, but I'm running around doing all the accounts and going to the bank and, all those other things. So really, it was 7 days a week. And because it was a very big social scene as well, it was long hours as well. But I absolutely thrived on it and loved it and everything. But after about 10 years, just off the cuff, one day a lady said to me, have you ever heard of network marketing? And I actually do have an honours degree in marketing and business, and I'd never heard of network marketing. So, but I got an open mind, so I said, no, what's that? And she explained it to me, and I thought, well, that sounds really interesting. It makes a lot of sense. And so I joined the company that she was in, and didn't like it at all. I think it was part of the reason that the industry has a kind of bad reputation, is that it was, I don't know, I don't want to go on about that, but it just didn't gel with me. But the model did. And I could really, really see the sense in the business model and the leveraged income. That really made sense to me. And I love building a team. And, my business with its employees was a team. And that was something that I really, really enjoyed. Then as time went on and it got bigger, the business got bigger and bigger. The skydiving centre had more and more employees and more red tape, and it just became more of a headache every day rather than enjoyable. It was nice when it was a small little team, but it was successful. So in the end, I've been looking around for network marketing companies, and I joined probably about 5 companies and hadn't really found the one I'd looked for. I was looking, and someone introduced me to Manatech, and I had a look at the technology and thought, wow, I was really into the health side of things. Thought, wow, this really is the one I've been looking for, hopefully, because it was very new in Australia. So I've been, and it was the right one. I've been with Manatech now for 20 years. Never had to chase a check. They come in every single month without fail. And I think for me, I mean, my wife and I's dream was to live off the grid and grow our own food and, have that kind of lifestyle. It wasn't so much the money as the lifestyle. So, yeah, nowadays I don't have the skydiving centre anymore. I don't have a business where I have any employees or anything like that. And really, I don't think you can put a price on the flexibility that this model of business gives you. I mean, it's just incredible. I can give you so many examples, but just last week, in fact, yesterday, my mum and dad suddenly decided they were going down to Sydney from the Gold Coast, and they said, "Oh, can you meet us for coffee?" And it's just the sort of thing that you think, well, if I had a job or I still had the other business, the answer would be no. But it's, yeah, sure. Where should we meet? In an hour's time, and you can literally, most of the time, obviously there's times like this where you're committed to a regular thing, where you have a conference call or something, and it can be more than that. It can be, can you come and do this for a week? Yeah, sure. And there's no such thing as, I'll have to organise holiday with work or anything like that. And most of the time when I do things like that, it's actually a business opportunity, because if I go away somewhere, generally you meet people, and the opportunity, if you've got your radars out, the opportunity comes up to help people, because that's what we really do with Manatech. We genuinely are helping people. And there's, as you've said, there's a lot of people out there who are looking for what we've got. They just don't understand it yet. And I do recommend people read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, because that was the book, Robert Kiyosaki, that really made me go, that's why I'm so busy. That's why I'm working so hard. I really need to understand this leveraged income thing more and make it work for me. And so it has for the last 20 years. We now live off the grid. We grow our own food. We can't see another house. I can run a global business from the middle of nowhere, as I'm doing now, because I've got a good internet connection. It's just extraordinary. And, there's tax benefits. Everyone, even if they have a job, should have a home-based business. I mean, it just makes so much sense. There's so many totally legal tax deductions that you can have as soon as you have a home-based business, even if it's just a really small one. Doesn't have to be a multi-million-dollar business for you to get exactly the same tax deductions as a really small part-time business. So I just encourage everyone who, even if they have a job which they're happy with and it's secure and all those things, still have a home-based business. You'll save a fortune in tax, and it's just a great business model. And of course, when you partner with a company like Manatech that's got such breakthrough technology, because without your health, all the time in the world is, as you would know, Sharon, and Diana's already mentioned, all the money in the world's not going to do you any good if you can't get out of bed in the morning. You need your health. So those two things combined together really make Manatech an unbeatable business. It's a wonderful company to partner with, and I just don't even bother looking at anything else. I do get approached on a fairly regular basis, and I ended up saying to those people, look, you're the one in the wrong business, not me. Yeah, it's wonderful, and I just recommend everyone open your mind, look into it, get back to the person that's invited you to this, and come and join us. Check it out. You can look much better from the inside than all your preconceptions will give you, you know, the wrong view from the outside. It's only once you get involved, see the type of people that are involved, get to experience the products, and then it just becomes a no-brainer, really. It's a fantastic company to partner with.
Garry, thank you so very much. I think it's really good that all three of our guests today have quite different and quite varied backgrounds. So it's important to know that perspective of coming from a traditional business. And we have Rhonda. Thank you, Garry.
Thank you.
I think you've got my video stopped, Sharon.
Do I? Silly me. Just 1 second. Is that working?
Okay, yes, that's right. Thank you. Well, hello, and thank you for inviting me on your call. I love your Saturday calls. I think they're just such a fantastic resource for everybody who has anything to do with wanting better health or making a better lifestyle for themselves. I did not find Manatech. Manatech found me, and it found me through a very dear friend who had a major health challenge for quite some time, and suddenly she was better. Now, I was in my early 50s. I thought I was in great shape. I didn't have problems, apart from something I'd lived with since 14 that just became part of life. A couple of things, actually. But you just accept that that's what life is, and we're normal and healthy. I wasn't incapacitated. But when I saw what was happening with my dear friend Sue, I thought, oh, I better look at this. That looks better than what I'm taking. And of course, it's better than anything else on the planet. So I started taking the products, and these things that I didn't have or thought I did have, what I thought I had disappeared. Things I didn't realize were a problem were fixing themselves. It was just amazing. And it's been an ongoing story. It's not just that you get better for a couple of months. Even after 15 years, things still improve. And things that suddenly, oh, that doesn't happen anymore. I don't have that anymore. So it's really an ongoing repair of your body for as long as you're using the products. It would take a major disaster for me to ever have to not take my products, and I'd sacrifice a lot of things before I'd sacrifice the products. And likewise, the business found me. I didn't look for the business, it found me. I was doing 4 jobs when I was introduced to Manatech. And I certainly didn't have time or energy for anything else. Like Diana, I started with the big pack, which then cost us about $1,500. And I plodded along. But after a couple of weeks, after a couple of weeks, after just 2 or 3 weeks, people I knew were saying to me, what are you doing? I want it. I was in reasonable shape. I didn't look old or bad or anything, but my skin, the change in my skin, which is what everybody sees first off, was unbelievable in just a couple of weeks. So people would say, well, what is it I wanted? So I'd start them on using the products, and my partner's very on and off with it, but when he's on it, he's well. When he's off it, he's not so well. And I've been able to keep him on it for quite a while now. So especially after we went to a party, oh, I better not say that. That might be broadcast. Never mind. He looks better than a lot of his peers, and he looks better than people who are similar age and older, and even family members. So I won't go any further than that.
That's really hard to explain, isn't it? Because quite a few of us, for those of you listening, we have a few chuckles of late. I've noticed what you've been to a family reunion or something where people haven't seen you in a long time, and we look seriously younger than our peers, seriously. And that's 20 years in nutrition. It's amazing how we just don't understand in modern society how important that foundational nutrition is for everything. But sorry, I'm interrupting you, Rhonda.
That's all right. This was so significant that just that morning, Ron had been saying, oh, I'm spending so much money on this. I'd spend this much on insulin and this much on that. I think I'm going to have to stop taking the Manatech. And we went to a party, and on the way home, I pointed out that the comparison in how they look, and he'd seen it. He said, You better not stop the order.
Yeah, it's, yeah,
But that's how it is,
exactly.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it's been many years now since Ron stopped or even slowed down on what he was taking. And when the new Ambritose Life came in, he said, "Oh, I want that." And he's so committed to that. He just loves that, and that's made huge. He's actually starting to grow hair back on his bald patch. Anyway,
Good old wellness. So, and Rhonda, you have an accounting background, don't you? So, yeah, also have a unique perspective.
Yeah, office admin and workplace health and workplace training. And I found we were going on. I was housing my mother, which was costing me quite a lot of money, and I really was living from week to week, as Sharon was saying before. And my wake-up call came. One of my jobs was 3 days a week for education department, and that involved, 3 days work and 3 hours a day travel to get there and home. And I was finding that a bit of a drag. But I had an appointment with a financial planner, and he asked me a very salient question. He said, "What's your exit plan?" And I felt rather stunned, and I thought, my exit plan, death? Because I couldn't see any way that I could not do what I was doing till I died. And I wasn't being funny. I thought, I'm going to be doing this for however long I'm still breathing. And I thought, I've been divorced twice, so my asset base keeps being divided. And I had enough super to last me the rest of my life, as long as I only lived about 6 weeks, which I planned to do more. And then suddenly I realised that this little check that was coming in every month from Manatech, there came a time after I was doing it a few years, and I really wasn't focusing on business. You couldn't say I was doing business. Business was happening around me. People were asking me about products. I'd talk to some people, but I didn't go out madly and ring every person I ever met in my life. But suddenly, it was just after a few years, the check that I was getting was big. It was double. No, the first one, it equaled what I was getting to work 3 days a week for the government with this 9 hours a week travelling. That gave me a wake-up call. What are you doing? This is happening here almost by itself. And look how hard you're working for this income. You're restricted to 4 weeks a year holiday because you can only do that when it fits in with the company. And I thought, if I paid a little bit more attention to this, I could get to the next level of achievement, and that would increase even more. So I did. I didn't do a great deal more work. Really, all I gave it was a bit more focus, a bit more attention. I was a bit more deliberate about it. And within 6 months, I doubled my check, which means I doubled the income I was getting from the government. And I thought, okay, I'm out of here. So I took the easy option. Pardon me. I had enough superannuation. I had enough long service leave that I could take it at half pay and give myself quite a few months of just making sure that I wasn't making a stupid decision. And I tell you, the first day that I didn't go to work was Valentine's Day 2011. And I took Ron for breakfast at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we had breakfast till about 11:30. And I decided then, I'm not going back to the office. This is my office from now. This is where I work. And in those years, I've been awarded trips. I've been awarded holiday trips overseas. I've been awarded conference trips to America, an executive directors conference in a magnificent resort in the Hunter Valley. The benefits that this company has given me are really immeasurable. And I can't say I'm a hard worker. I can't say that I put my life and soul into building this business. This business has just been so good to me. And I tell you, Sharon, it pays me more than having $100,000 in the bank. Even at 5%, even at 2%. So and in the last 2 months, for nearly 2 months now, I've been looking after Ron, who fell down the stairs and broke his leg. So he's been quite incapacitated. And although most of my time is involved in not just doing the duties he did at home, but looking after him and running him to appointments here and there and the other, Manitech's still sending me my checks. And my work involvement in that, especially these last 2 months, has been minimal. There's a few customers that I have to call once a month. There's a couple of people that I have to chat to at other times. But you can't say that I've been doing hard work. Now, if that was the government job, if that was any job, you can't just take 3 months of the year to have holidays. You can't take 2 months just looking after somebody and expect the money to keep coming in. And in this business, it does. You build it to start and it keeps rewarding you on and on and on. Everything else we do is exchange time for money. And if you ain't got enough time, you ain't got more money. That's the long and short of it. And I just love it.
Yeah, well said, Rhonda. What an inspired retirement, which is another demographic of our society where, superannuation and retirement funds are just no longer going to be stable for the majority.
Especially for women of our age, Sharon.
Absolutely.
The young girls who start work at 25 and keep working for their whole life, they're in a better situation with superannuation. But like you, my choice was teacher, secretary or nurse, which I took. Superannuation wasn't available to us when we started. I had 13 years out of the workforce raising children. Nobody even paid me for that, let alone superannuation. And when I went back into the workforce as a temp in 1987, I couldn't even take out a private superannuation policy. I had a friend who was an insurance professional, and he worked up a policy for me that would be like a superannuation policy, but it certainly didn't have the benefits of the regular super that they have now. So when you do part-time and bits and pieces for a long time, there's no super build-up.
Yeah. And this is a smart way and an achievable way for anyone, isn't it? That you don't have to stay in a disadvantaged place. You just need to make a decision.
One of the ladies in my team, Sharon, describes network marketing as the democratization of wealth.
I love that term.
Everybody has the same opportunity. Nobody decides how much you're worth. The effort you put in, you're rewarded. And even people who don't want to do a high-powered work, it's just talking to people. It's just conversational marketing. And most of the business I've built, and actually I'm only responsible for about less than 5% of the number of people in my team. So people help people, and it builds a team that pays rewards.
Rhonda, thank you. That's
Thank
going to
you.
bless people, give people options. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you've got enough information there to really fully inform you, either in I have these questions or I'd like to get help to determine the answer to these questions. Where do you see yourself getting started? As a partnership for income at any level, as a customer, a preferred customer, which means as you look at this technology, we can give you more in-depth information. Wow, that's got to be my first priority because my wellness has to come first. Or some people just choose to refer people to us. I've had people say, listen, this isn't for me, but yeah, please, can you talk to this person because I think they would really benefit from what you have. So for those of us, really, I love this statement, own your future. How many of us would be loving to own our future in, sorry. My computer, just unstable internet again. Apologies for that. So, we can take charge. We can, if your future is looking bleak, you can definitely take some steps. Reach out to the person who invited you to this and evaluate thoroughly. Again, as I said before, people are praying. So many people in our world now are on their knees praying, and we have a solution for that. So if you have time, you're willing to learn, you definitely can and become more well and achieve income and be part of this great mission in serving malnourished people. These quotes here are very near and dear to me. You know, and this is true. If someone offers you an amazing opportunity and you're not sure you can do it, say yes and learn how to do it later. That was my journey. That's what I did. I had no idea. I made lots of mistakes, and I made lots of commitments to just learning more, and that's what I've done. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know, our purpose is to lead a life of purpose, and partner with us, and you can do that.